Actually, what I would like to happen, and I have no ability to change anybody's anything, but for people who are worried, because I think most people who are voting for Trump are going to vote it on for economic reasons and worries about.
I think it's because it's binary.
And worries about this administration. Right. Please split your ticket. Vote Democratic and split your ticket so that the economic part of this can be protected. Then we get the best of a fairly poor period, meaning we don't get him, because I do think it's a bad thing, and we'll live through 4 years. And what will happen out of that? By the way, I'm kind of okay either way. I'm really not, but I say it. But I think that if, in fact, Trump wins, the Democratic Party will redo itself and put up a solid candidate in 28.
Do you think the flip side is true? If the Democrats win, that the Republican Party changes materially, or that the...
Yeah. Oh.
You do?
He's 78.
No, I don't think that Trump would run again. Right. I just wonder whether you think, whatever you think the remnants of the MAGA movement are, whether that becomes the central tenet of the party or the party itself shifts.
I don't think it's a movement. I think it's him.
I mean, even...
So I think if he disappears, there is no movement.
But Barry, it's not just economic issues. I look at the way we have handled Iran in the Middle East for the past 4 years has been a pig, whatever you want to call it. It's been an absolute disaster, and that's why we're in this mess right now. When Trump was there, it ended with the Abraham Accords, moving the Jerusalem for the embassy.
A lot of silliness with the North Korean leader.
Okay, you're back to these superficial things. The world was a much safer place, Barry. A much safer. And
by the way, the world was a much safer place because Ukraine and the Middle East blew. And who would have predicted that?
You
and
can't
who
say
would have
that it's not
prevented
linked. You can't say it's definitely not linked. You can't.
Or maybe it's
the
linked or
weakness
not.
and
But by the way,
the withdrawal from Afghanistan. How about the border?
I would like two things.
How about the border?
I would hope for two things.
Which are?
One is that she has a Republican, for sure, as and somebody with real foreign policy chops as defense. And I would like Elon Musk to be asked, given that he is an American patriot, to come into this administration and cut costs.
Well, because the one thing
he is really good at is that.
So, do you think that either of those are likely to happen, though? Have you been given any?
Well, I do think she has said she will appoint a Republican to the cabinet. Now,
not as
I hope it's not for Commerce Secretary.
And you would like to see her appoint, if she wins, appoint Elon Musk?
Absolutely. Call him and say, you know what, Mr. Musk? You are truly a great cutting executive. Look at what he did with Twitter.
Right.
Come in, help our government. You've got absolute authority. Cut everywhere that makes sense.
By the way, what do you think about his role in this election?
Well, I've said before, I think he is a deserved megalomaniac. He deserves to be a megalomaniac because because of what he is able, what he has accomplished and able to be accomplished, enabled. And I think that his, therefore, coming on center stage and jumping up is like weird but okay, because he's a megalomaniac, but he deserves to be.
What do you think? You're talking about the elites and everybody else in this sort of divide. What do you think about just this perception now that there's frankly, billionaires on each side of this campaign that are, and that the candidates are sort of marionettes of some sort?
What I don't understand for anybody with wealth, anybody with real, that kind of heavy wealth, how they could do anything that benefits their sole economic interest as a means of judging anything is beyond me.
Do you think that's
true? To make another dollar for a rich person?
But do you believe that? So a lot of times you hear Democrats or folks on the left say, you know what, the folks who are supporting Trump are doing it for their wallet. It's all about the money. That's all it really is. Is that what you think? Because I think when I've had conversations with these folks, unless you think I'm completely Pollyanna-ish about this, that there are so many other issues that not only that they point to...
They're voting their economic interest.
You think that's all it is?
I don't
Well,
say
that
it's.
can't be right in,
I don't say
in a blue state, Barry.
Wait a second.
Can't be right in a blue state.
I don't think that's all it is, but I think it's the vast majority of it. It can't. These are people who do understand the differerences, the issues of character and other issues.
I could argue it's about power. I mean, look, proximity to power is power, and so some of those folks who've aligned themselves.
Well, they're all delusionary.
Right.
Anybody who thinks that because they do anything, they are going to be able to influence or be close to, quote, to power, close quote.